Hey guys, welcome back to Human Condition. Um, this video is another video for What Brain Chemicals series. What brain chemicals represent different characters. So this one is the one for a show called Resident Alien. If you haven't checked it out before, I highly recommend. It's a very great, awesome show to check out. Um, Fire show, but I'm sure you have if you're watching this. But this is what Resident Alien characters represent different brain chemicals. Uh, So in this video, we'll be talking about like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, norepinephrine, uh, GABA, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, norepinephrine, and GABA, and how they can kind of correlate with the certain characters in the show personality traits. Uh, but obviously, this doesn't define them completely. It's just a little bit of their personality. So yeah. Um, Starting off, this one was actually tougher than most videos because, especially with Harry, I gave Harry dopamine. The reason I gave Harry dopamine is because um, dopamine is usually like an emotion-based thing and is impulsive and self-serving. And Harry is self-serving, but he doesn't act with emotion a lot. He's very like emotionally detached. So this was very tough. But he acts almost like a person that has emotions and is emotionally impulsive but doesn't have them at the same time, making it very tough to like figure out what brain chemical he would be, you know. But I'm gonna still give him dopamine because of his high overindulgence in pizza. He loves pizza, eats it all the time. He loves food in general, eats it all the time, and his lack of sometimes like self control a little bit. I mean, he can self control a little bit, but not that much. His lack of self control can cause him to be kind of impulsive, like the attributes of dopamine. But he's not the stereotypical dopamine type of person like in my previous videos, such as like How I Met Your Mother was Barney, um, Umbrella Academy was Diego, uh, Abbott Elementary was Ava. He's not your typical dopamine character, but because I was thinking about giving him adrenaline because adrenaline's like highly aggressive, but Harry, even when he's highly aggressive, is emotionally detached. So it's tough to say. But I'd say Harry is a good embodiment of dopamine. Asta, I really wanted to give serotonin because serotonin I consider like the person that keeps the group together, is optimistic. However, Asta's an awesome character, but if you watch the show, she always has to bear the weight of the world on her shoulders, so she's not the most optimistic all the time character. And this being said, I'd give her more of oxytocin. Oxytocin is a love hormone. It's the caring, emotionally caring, and supportive hormone. So I decided to give her that one because she's caring and sweet and stuff, and she takes care of Harry. So I gave her oxytocin. Um, Ben Hawthorne, I gave the mayor. I gave serotonin. I really wanted to give him cortisol because cortisol is the brain chemical associated with stress, you know, and he's also very stressed out all the time, but he's also very optimistic, and he doesn't really keep the group together, the town together that much. But I do specifically remember, also spoiler alerts if you haven't seen Resident Alien, but I do specifically remember one scene where he went to the hospital and all the town gathered to see him, which was really wholesome, pretty lit, but also really wholesome and caring. So if that doesn't bring people together, I don't know what does. So therefore, serotonin keeps people together and is optimistic. And I feel like Ben Hawthorne is a good representation of serotonin. Um, then I got Sheriff Mike and Liv Baker, which have a really funny dynamic in the show. Uh, Sheriff Mike was probably the easiest one to associate with a brain chemical, and I gave him norepinephrine because this typically embodies motivation, but not a little less self-serving motivation. And he's not the typical one because sometimes he is more self-serving, but um, he's very motivated and he does try to take care of the town to an extent, even though sometimes he can be self-serving as well, kind of like Harry. and more emotional. But he's more motivated. He's very motivated by his stress, unlike cortisol, which sometimes can cripple the person with the stress. So norepinephrine, he'd be, because he's very motivated. Norepinephrine also does have a problem when they are in a group dynamic. They usually like to work by themselves, and if they work with people, it kind of has to be their way, and they have to be kind of getting control. And at least in the first whole season of Resident Alien, he takes his colleagues Liv Baker's advice and pretends like it's his own often, because he likes to do his own thing, and that's kind of a funny dynamic between him and Liv, because she's more shy and stressed out, and he's more motivated and and she's motivated too, but he's outwardly motivated. She's more inwardly motivated. So that leads us to cortisol, which I gave to Liv Baker. And it was tough to choose between her and Ben because they're both pretty stressed out characters. However, Liv is a little more stressed out and self-conscious, I guess, within the show. But she's also very caring and awesome character. But because of this, she has a hard time. The stress doesn't motivate like the stress that the sheriff has. The norepinephrine, it motivates. Cortisol is the stress that doesn't motivate. That's the key difference. And also, dopamine's also a motivator, but it's self-serving. So you got those three that impact motivation. You got dopamine, passion for like self-serving things, norepinephrine, passion, just motivated in general, and cortisol kind of takes away motivation because of stress. But she's inwardly motivated, and I think becomes more motivated and a lot of character growth in the show. And she's inwardly motivated, I'd say. It just doesn't show on the outside. She's very motivated, but also very stressed out. So that was Darcy. Darcy's an awesome character. Probably one of my favorite characters actually on the show. She's pretty cool, pretty chill, pretty funny. I was gonna give her dopamine because they briefly say that she's like sometimes self-serving as well, and probably would have been a better choice for dopamine, honestly. Probably her or Sheriff Mike would have been the two best choices for dopamine. But there's another brain chemical called GABA, which is just a chill, just likes the vibe brain chemical. And I feel like Darcy fits that persona probably the best within the show. So yeah, this is kind of a quicker video than usual. But basically, in conclusion, I'd say Harry Vanderspiegel is dopamine, Asta is oxytocin, Sheriff Mike is norepinephrine, Liv Baker is cortisol, Ben Hawthorne is serotonin. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My next video will probably be another astrology video, so stay tuned for that. But I want to say thank you guys again for all the recent support of my videos. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys, so thanks for tuning in. As always, thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.